Happy Mother's Day, traders. It is Matt and Jacey with Empire Algorithmic Trading here to bring you Vwapvision Stock Talk Weekly Review.
It's where we use the volume weighted average price to make sense of the market. So let's just take a look, Matt. Let's do a little stock talk.
Let's go. Weekly Review.
Well, Matt, happy Mother's Day to the mothers in your life. I've said some
Yeah.
happy Mother's Days to the mothers in my life. So happy Mother's Day to anybody out there watching who's a mother. Couldn't do it without you, obviously. So
At
happy
all.
Mother's Day, everybody. All right, we're going to take a quick look. Bonds kind of held some ground on Friday. This is an important market. I don't know if it's getting enough attention that it rightfully deserves, but from what I've seen, not a lot of talk about the bonds. But yeah, the bonds sold off last week, which is kind of disheartening, I should say. Not discerning, kind of disheartening, but they held ground on Friday, so we want to see this hold. Rising rates are probably going to cause a little bit of a headache for this young rally. So the market hasn't done much since it's hit the green zone, and that's evident also in the breakouts since this point. Now the breakouts from this period, right in here, have been performing very well. The breakouts from here are a mixed bag. About a third of them have been pretty good. About a third of them have been pretty bad. And then right in the middle, they're just looking exactly like this, which is kind of what you would expect. Stocks generally follow the general market trend. What we're looking for is to identify that trend and identify the stocks that outperform that trend. So it's not a surprise to see leading stocks, recent breakouts just kind of be duds. But quite a few of them haven't fallen back. And so they just follow the market's trend. There have been some superstars. But for the most part, we're just kind of in a little mini trading range. What's encouraging is it hasn't really sold off. It hasn't reversed hard, which is what you would initially expect. So I kind of feel we're very similar to where we were at in August of last year, where the S&P and the NASDAQ had that wicked sell-off due to the Japanese yen trade unwinding. And then it bounced off the VWAP, and it rallied right back up, a really sharp V. I mean, I suppose we could just slide back. It was this right here, right? And it bounced off the VWAP, had a really sharp V, just kind of stalled out and then tested again. And then if we look at the S&P 500, it wasn't quite as sharp. This was pretty, that was clenching, let's just say the least. But it held support. If you draw the VWAP there, it held support at the VWAP and rallied right back. So I kind of have a feeling this is kind of similar to where we're at right now. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a little bit of a test. But obviously with the breakouts, the action that we saw in some of the breakouts last week, that doesn't happen in bad markets. And we'll show it some of those as well. The small caps are still trending up. They're kind of still moving a little bit out of that range. So they were kind of early leaders. And it's nice to see that. And the same thing with the mid caps. Mid caps are probably in the best position as far as the small caps and the mid caps go, is they're just quickly approaching their all-time VWAP. So what we want to see before we start getting really aggressive with positions and position sizing particularly, is I want to see all four of these trading above their all-time VWAPs, right? Right now, it's just the S&P. We want to see the NASDAQ, the mid caps, and the small caps all participate. VIX,
And
the
not
VIX,
just
I'm sorry, what?
not just trading above, but living above, right?
Living above. Yeah, we don't want to just see just one day and then have it bounce right back down. We want to start to see that demand sustain, right? We want to see that those sellers start to wear thin, and then only buyers are pushing the market higher. The market is starting to get a little bit more confidence in this rally, right? The VIX has been coming down consistently. Even though the market was down for the week, I believe the VIX was down for the week. So the S&P had a slight down week. Let's just look there. It was down about 0.5%. I think the NASDAQ was down a little bit. The IEM was actually, or the IWM, the small caps were actually up, showing some of that leadership we talked about. Then the same thing with the mid caps. So it's a good sign that the VIX is coming down. That's just the market expressing a little bit of confidence. It's still relatively elevated at 29 or 21.9, excuse me, but it's coming down to a more manageable area. Talked about some big winners, and there were some pretty good moves. Dave was a breakout for us during the red zone. Shook me right out of it. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but nonetheless, it blasted out on last week on a nice earnings report, and then followed through even firmer or even stronger. A nice strong follow through, up 9.4%. Sezzle, its co-patriot, did the same thing. A nice strong rebound on
Wow.
its breakout or its wicked gap up. Also, Comstock Resources, a nice strong move pretty much all week last week,
Yeah.
spurred by earnings right here, and the stock just kept rolling. Flashed a red zone breakout, had volatility along with the market, never flashed a sell signal. You would have gotten stopped out on a percentage basis, but the algo didn't flash a sell signal, and the volatility tightened up, and the stock broke out of that quite nicely. Groupon, one of the stocks that we've talked about a couple of times, it attempted a couple of breakouts, shook you out here, tried breaking out again, probably would have shaken you out. If you were just using the algorithm, you would have held up just fine. It also had a monster gain. I think this was like a 40% gain in one day on its earnings. Mercado Libre had another strong week. It gapped right out. It did the three and go, three rallied and shot right out. Virtu Financial hitting an all-time high. I believe that's an all-time high. Yep. Hitting an all-time high after its green zone breakout. Very similar to CRK, where it got volatile, found support at the VWAP, and then has since rallied up ever since. Very interesting. Hood, which kind of treaded water a little bit, had a slightly negative reaction to earnings, but it didn't actually collapse. Tightened up and then just started to move out of that. So hopefully Hood continues to move up the right side of its base. But right now, its breakout is progressing nicely. I brought into that, and I've actually taken some profits on that little mini strength there. However, there is some dangers out there, right? Landbridge reported earnings, and it got hit pretty hard the day after. So hopefully you were taking some profits on this. It was a good looking breakout, going up into earnings. That's pretty good, and gave you opportunities to take some profits, and then earnings kind of crushed it. So hopefully you got out of that with a small gain. And then same thing with Cal-Maine. Cal-Maine looked like it was doing the shake and go. It gapped down right after its initial move, kind of shook you out, and then looked like it was breaking out. You've got this nice clear wedge forming. Looked like it was breaking out of that, but just got rejected. So I sold my position on this day here. Actually, I sold it on Friday. Sold my position on Friday on that. I took a chance on this second breakout attempt, and it just never followed through. EverQuote, same thing. Its earnings just knocked its breakout down. It had a nice follow through, and then just kind of stalled a little bit before earnings, and then just got knocked out. So I ended up I took a gamble on that one and lost. Wasn't my typical setup, but I have seen some of these gap ups kind of work. So I wanted to try it out, and I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that again. Guardant Health, same thing. It had a nice, strong potential breakout, but its earnings has pushed it right back down. So it's kind of a mixed bag with breakouts right now. And I think that's kind of a function of what you're going to see until we start getting all three of the remaining indexes above their VWAPs. And you're also starting to see some of the leaders that were very strong. We talked about the stocks that broke out during that initial stage of this bottoming process. They continue to rally hard. Zscaler is also kind of just starting to look like it's kind of running out of steam a little bit. Palomar, same thing. It's trying to break out, but it seems to just be getting rejected at some of these higher prices. So wouldn't surprise me to see if this gets tested. Paymentus, same thing. It had a nice run. It had a nice strong gap, and this very well could end up being a little exhaustion. Might want to set up a little bit. Hopefully it sets a nice tight handle, which would provide another opportunity to jump in, but that's been a pretty nice strong uptrend. And then same thing with Axon. Axon had a nice strong gap up after testing its breakout here. A nice strong gap up on earnings. It's known for that. It's done that a couple of times. It had a nice 30% gap up on me last year when it broke out right before its earnings. But it too tried to move higher. Its higher move got rejected a little bit. So it's just kind of also finding a little bit. So I think we might be running out a little bit of strength in some of these early leaders, and what we want to see are some of the newer breakouts start moving higher, either as the market continues to digest its gains, or ideally starts moving out of this little mini trading range. So the best case scenario is it just continues. We get, instead of a little bit of resistance like we got here, we want to see the market close solidly above this date, right? 56.86. We want to see a nice close above that. And that'll likely lead to some of the breakouts continuing to move out. So we're not in a danger zone. We're still just doing exactly what you would expect. It's nice that it hasn't sold off hard. right after that. But it's just kind of a mixture, right? We're not getting a lot of movement in some of the recent breakouts, and a lot of movement in the market in general. But it is still setting up, and so we still have still greens on, so we're still willing to take some risk. But it's just not the full-on gangbuster breakout market. Things just steamrolling. You could close your eyes and buy a stock and it'll go up 6 or 8% the next
Right.
day. We're not in that mode yet, which is fun when it happens. But in the meantime, it's just keep your position sizes small. If you don't even want to trade yet, that's acceptable as well. But for the most
That's
part,
not
it's keep
me.
your position small, tighten up your losses, right? Generally, we like to give stocks a little bit of room, but it is pretty volatile, and so you might want to tighten your losses up. I'm gonna start using the low of the breakout day as my stopping point, and I'm probably going to start scaling out instead of I scale in. I'm probably going to start scaling out a little bit just simply because of some of the volatility. So I'm going to be pretty selective on any of the trades that I do take. But for the most part, I'm still going to give it a shot, right? We do have quite a few setups that are looking pretty good. We just need to get that momentum behind us. But so far, pretty interesting week, but not a gangbuster.
Yeah, so it's one of those where we're technically in a green zone, and with that green zone, it's not a super strong green zone. But if those mids and those small caps keep heading upward, and we start to see more leadership out of that, I think it very quickly could turn. So that's what's so going to be so interesting about this week is will it push us to that next level, or is it going to kind of just keep floating in limbo almost?
Yeah, my hope is we get a nice range, right? I would like, obviously, I want to see it move higher. I'm a bull, right? That's just what I do. But
Mhm.
if it's tightening above that VWAP, above that all-time VWAP, that's a bonus. And yeah, that's a bonus. We could look at some charts and more deeper chart review. I do want to kind of look at the S&P for our Patreon subscribers in a little bit more detail for that. So we will do a little chart review for Patreon subscribers today. But yeah, for the most part, I would like to see a breakout, but every day it's really kind of a hit or miss, right? Because we're kind of consolidating, which is a good step forward. Every day we don't sell off hard, it means that we're not probably going to. But also
Yeah,
every day that we don't move higher increases the probability of a sell-off coming. So we're
exactly.
kind of in a teeter-totter, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. So it's just a wait and see. But I think the VIX coming down, I think, is indicative, right? That's very nice. The wild card is going to be the bond market. If the bond market sells off this week, we're probably going to see a sell-off in equities. I mean, that would almost be a foregone conclusion. But I mean, you never know. I mean, the market does what the market does. Sometimes it surprises you, and when you think you got it figured out, it does something completely different. So that's why we play the game. We just watch it every day. But for the most part, just take a little bit of risk. Just keep your losses tight, and just let the market be your guide.
Absolutely. And that's it for us today on Stock Talk Weekly Review. So make sure you are subscribing over at our Patreon to get this access to our daily buy and sell signals, some extra educational videos. As Jay said, we're going to do a deeper dive into our chart review for anybody that's over there on our Patreon. So it's patreon.com/ Empire Algorithmic Trading. If you just want to figure out a little bit more about us and what we do, visit our website, Vwapvision.com. That's Vwapvision.com. Otherwise, follow us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X. We like to interact with our fans there, also give out some freebies here and there, just to keep things interesting. So anywhere that you are, we are as well, including those listening on Spotify and those watching on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'd just love to see you every single day. So, well, I should say every day the market's open. We'd love to see you.
All right, Matt. Well, we'll see you during chart and arrow review. And in the meantime, happy Mother's Day and happy trading.
Happy trading. Happy Mother's Day, buddy.